Hey guys, what is up? Grunt right here. I'm back here today for a new video. Today we're going to be revisiting someone who I have not reacted to in a good minute on this channel, and I am talking about Barbra, the one and only Babs. This was such a great request that was brought up in my Patreon, and I was so excited to get to it today. We're going to be doing a medley of songs, actually, from Barbra's One Voice concert. What an amazing concert. I only saw snippets of it, but absolutely amazing. Barbra, as I have said numerous times on this channel, was probably my mother's favorite singer of all time. Growing up, she would always have Barbra on in the house, whether she was cleaning or just doing everyday things. Barbra was probably the front runner in the rotation in my home growing up, and I was so grateful because I learned so much vocally from her. To even present day, every time I listen to her, it's just such an educational experience, as well as just an amazing experience as a fan, lifelong fan, and I'm so happy to be getting back to her today. I'm going to be looking at her performance of 3 songs today, actually. Somewhere, People, and The Way We Were. I am just so excited to be revisiting her. It's been such a long time, and it was overdue to get back to her today, so I'm happy as per usual. You guys already know. So get something to drink, get something to eat, get cozy, get dressed up, feel good, look good, and join me today. Without further ado, let's get into it. Before we begin today's video, as always, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I need you to do a couple things. Please give this channel a subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up at the end if you like what you see and hear, and head on over to the Patreon to join everyone there for first access on all content to come forth, as well as priority video reaction requests. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Camp Barbra. Thank you. Jesus, I feel like it's kind of like the Malibu Shakespeare Festival here. Stallone does Hamlet. To be or what? Right on. Kill him, Sly. Tear him up. Actually, I'm $50 of the $5,000 you paid. So that's the most I could ever charge. So we're going through this real quick. We're here tonight for a good cause. Are there any more people coming? Obviously, at these prices, we can't wait. When the music stops, the studio heads will change, so in just a moment... Jesus. This is scary. Fully lit, too, and I can see everybody I've ever known and haven't worked with yet. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jesus, this is incredible. Just my entire career flashing before me.
Thank God Barbara's doing this. It's really fabulous of her. It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event for me to see her sing.
I think that it is enormous that Barbra Streisand said she would sing for the first time in public in a lot of years.
I made a promise to myself that no matter where it was, or how much it cost, whichever country it was in, at whatever time, I would be there whenever Barbra Streisand sang in public again.
I've never seen her live, and a lot of people here haven't seen her live, but she hasn't sung live in a long time. So it's a real, you know, it's like double, how do you say, it's a double treat.
I have never heard her sing in public, but this is the night, and I'm real excited.
This is the only game in town in the country tonight.
Thank you. Jesus. Any questions before? God, this is scary, I can't tell you. You see people out here who can go, I don't want him, get someone different. Some more people coming in, check it out. Barbra Streisand, $5,000, check it out. Be afraid, baby. 2 seats, $8,000, check it out. Bought these myself, chump, check it out.
I could never imagine myself wanting to sing in public again. But then I could never imagine, with all our advanced technology, the starvation of bodies and minds, and the possibility of nuclear winters in our lives. I could no longer remain silent. By my silence, I was giving consent to the madness of nations spending billions of dollars on weapons that can never be used, and all at the expense of schools, farms, medical research, and research into safe sources of energy. Sometimes we forget the importance of one voice, of each of our voices, and the enormous difference it can make in all our lives, in history. I'm sending you this invitation because I feel I must sing again, to do what I can to ensure a safer and better world. That's the message. Please join me on September 6th at my home, under the stars. We'll have dinner, watch the sunset, share the music, and send the message. I'd really like you to come. Barbra.
Someday, somewhere, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find a way of forgiving. Somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet and open air. Wait for us somewhere. There's a time for us. Someday there'll be a time for us. Time together with time to spare. Time to learn and time to care. Someday, somewhere, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find there's a way of forgiving. Somewhere, 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 there's a place for us. A time and a place for us. Hold my hand and we're halfway there. Hold my hand and I'll take you there. Somehow, someday,
Just gotta take a sip of my tea. Made my hair go straight.
people who need people.
It's amazing how that lyric means something entirely different to me now than it did in 1964. When I first sang it, maybe it's because the world's not the same as it was in 1964, and neither am I. On the morning of April 26th, I turned on the news and heard about the disaster at Chernobyl. Something happened in the Russian Ukraine, and suddenly we had to worry about eating cheese from France and apples grown in Oregon. And radiation doesn't care if you're rich or poor, male or female, black or white, Democrat or Republican, American or Russian. We're all downwind. And this is as a result of an accident in a nuclear power plant So can you imagine an accident involving a nuclear warhead, of which there are some 50,000 in the world today? It terrifies me. It terrifies me, as I'm sure it terrifies you and everybody everywhere. I mean, aren't we all the same, really? When a mother holds her baby, her joy is the same no matter what country she lives in. Lovers are lovers no matter under what government they make love. We inhabit this tiny planet together, and if we are to survive, it will have to be together or not at all. We must recognize that we're just people who need people.
Are the luckiest people in the world, where children needing other children, and yet letting our grown-up pride hide all the need inside, acting more like children than children. Lovers are very special people. They're the luckiest people in the world. With one person, one very special person, a feeling deep in your soul says you are half, now you're whole. No more hunger and thirst. First be a person who needs people. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. With one person, one very special person, no more hunger and thirst. First be a person who needs people. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world.
It's not without some sense of loss that we look back to a more innocent time. Franklin Roosevelt led us through one of the darkest periods in our history and gave us a plan for the future. And the cities grew and the farms flourished. Literature and music poured forth. And we became the richest, the best educated, the most respected nation in the world. Like any time, it was not without its troubles, but the air was purer and the water was clearer and the future seemed brighter.
the corners of my mind, misty watercolor memories of the way we were. Scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind, smiles we gave to one another for the way we were. Can it be that it was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every line? If we had the chance to do it all again, tell me, would we? Or could we? Memories may be beautiful and yet what's too painful to remember, we simply choose to forget. So it's the laughter, we'll remember whenever we remember the way we were, the way we were. Whoa, 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 whoa,
I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely getting choked up on that last one. Brought back a lot of memories of my mother, God rest her soul, and I'm pretty sure you guys can relate. Man, what a medley of songs to react to today. I have so much I got to talk about, so you guys might want to, get a chair, pull up a chair. You're going to be here for a minute. I don't even know where to begin. I've said it a million times. You guys have, if you've been on this channel the past few years, you've seen me. I've reacted to Barbra many, many times. She is just, like I've said a million times, the gold standard of vocalists. All of your favorite singers today, none of them would be even remotely in the place they are had it not been for Barbra. She was the pioneer for every vocalist to come after her. I've said it a million times, every single thing that you could possibly hope to do correctly as a vocalist, you can learn from Barbra. Everything. And one of the main things I want to talk about, in regards to Barbra is something I have said before and I want to elaborate on that we've lost in modern day singing, and that is the act of just singing without having to rely on, vocal embellishments. I am going to bring it up for the 100 millionth time, so please do not kill me. I am just the messenger, but it is TikTok. Something that has just gained global recognition, and it's become a humongous trend even for some of the people that I know, is what I like to call robotic singing. It's just, there's a number of trends going on TikTok, on social media, where young singers, many of them, you've never heard of before, just young, untrained, amateur singers, doing just short videos of vocal riffs and runs. And what in my opinion, this is doing that is damaging the minds of a lot of young singers that just don't know their craft well enough, is they are just thinking that, doing vocal runs that have absolutely, no context whatsoever. They're just doing vocal runs just to show off and just to do a trend without, the runs half the time even making sense of in the context of any actual musical landscape. It's just training, in my opinion, you're training young singers to not even need to learn a song, not even need to learn the structure of a song, not even to need to learn the relation, certain vocal dynamics or certain vocal lines have to do with the message in a song. You're just teaching young singers just to do things to impress and to show off and not actually sing. And I'm always saying this because one of the main things that I struggled with in my early career was this very thing. A lot of these platforms now are doing the same damage that these talent competitions are doing with young singers, and it's just teaching singers to rely on showing off rather than teaching singers to sing, to emote and to deliver a message and to affect people. And you can see it all in the facial expressions with singers now versus singers of Barbra's generation. And what was the main thing that was displayed here is humanity. Barbra Streisand, she actually was looking at people and looking at the audience like a human being, not like a robot, doing, hand movements. And, half the time when you see singers nowadays, it looks like they're going through an exorcism. You can see how difficult it is for them to carry out what they're doing, and there's just no natural fluidity of facial characteristics, of body movements, of anything remotely human going on in modern day performances. And the whole thing is just very, like I said, it's like a humongous obstacle course rather than a performer doing what they love and connecting with an audience. It just boggles my mind how far we've come from that to what we have present day. And this just really, really brought me back to what it's about, which is natural singing. Being a natural singer, being obviously, Barbra Streisand, the benchmark gold standard of vocalists, but just doing so in, you can see how much she actually enjoys singing. And half the time nowadays, like I said, when I see singers, the young ones especially, it looks like torture. And it is incredibly irritating, like I said, because this is what modern day media has sort of ingrained into the minds of singers, that the whole thing has to be this huge obstacle course. Granted, it's not an easy thing. Singing, especially technically singing, doing a lot of technical singing, it's not an easy thing, but for it to look like torture, something's wrong. This was, like I said, just such a breath of fresh air to get back to the basics, just singing, looking like a person on stage. Just my quick little rant on that. I've said a million times, you guys don't even need me to go into full detail. There are just, there's one person that you do not hear people covering very often, it's Barbra, and for good measure, because every single thing, every vocal, milestone that you could possibly wish to accomplish, Barbra, she is, has got it aced in her bag, and then some. Like I said, if all the greats, all the greats that came after her, came because of her. The two things I've said a million times that Barbra Streisand is the absolute queen of, it's vocal control and volume control. Those two things are just such an underrated combo, especially in present day music. A lot of singers, like I said, they're very good at a lot of things, but the voice just does not, they don't know how to move their voice, they don't know how to shift their voice, and they don't know how to control the volume. And that's two things I feel, in my personal opinion, you really, really, really have to get a very, very, very solid understanding of before you can take your voice to the next level. And when I say the next level, I don't mean the next level of belting and shouting, which mainstream media portrays as the be-all, end-all, be-all of a great singer. I mean the next level of being a true vocalist, in every single part of your voice, not just the loud and show-offy parts. And even straying away from the singing, something else that I've always admired Barbra so much for is how well-rounded she is when speaking. She actually knows how to speak about what she's singing about when she's talking about the songs. A lot of times, if you were to ask a lot of singers present day, to speak about the songs they're singing, half the time they don't even, know about any. It's like I said, it's all just show off. They don't connect with the actual song, and there's a humongous disconnect there. They just are, in it to, be, sonically impressive to an audience, and they can't actually go into depth and speak about it and speak about it in a way that connects with people, the way Barbra did, especially with these three songs. I loved the connection that she created with her audience when speaking about these songs. And even midway into performing, she would go from singing to speaking about it again. Absolutely just such a breath of fresh air, like I said, for someone to actually, have enough intellect and to be, an artist in the way that they can actually speak about their songs in the same vein as they sing the song. Absolutely beautiful. And something else I'm gonna sort of nitpick with current day singers is the vowels. A lot of singers these days, especially the female ones, the vowels, it's a mixture of closed vowels because they're afraid to open up. And then it gets to the point where certain singers, I'm not going to name their names, you can't even understand what they're saying because their vowels are so closed and their mouth is like this and they're singing like this. Open your mouth. Constantly saying that. I don't even like to watch a lot of concerts these days because that is one of my biggest icks, if you want to put it that way, that just gets on the last nerve. I feel a lot of singers now, they are so scared of their own voices, they're afraid to open the vowels up and to sing openly, to the point where, like I said, everything looks like this and you can't even see their mouth moving on stage. If you need, to watch someone do it correctly, like I said, Barbra is the one. Just everything was just open, always free, and you could always understand what she was singing, what she was saying. You know what I mean? She was never scared of her voice. She always, had an amazing trust in her instrument, and she wasn't afraid of making mistakes. She knew her voice well enough. She's always known her voice well enough to know where to take it and what to do with it. Just so admirable, because like I said, nowadays you can see how afraid a lot of people are of their own instrument, and it's just pitiful to watch, in my opinion. That's why I'm always so glad to get back to people like Barbra. And once again, as I've said a million times, after you strip down the vocal embellishments and everything that is, typically impressive, regarding one's voice, a lot of times what you find with a lot of singers is the actual voice is not that great to begin with. And I'm always preaching that with TikTok singers. If you take away everything, if you bring them back down to the bass, if you give a lot of singers only a couple seconds to sing, a lot of times you're going to find there's nothing special about the voice. And I'm so big on that. I feel technique and, you know, vocal runs and all that stuff you can learn how to do, but not everybody was born with a great voice. And Barbra Streisand just has always had a naturally astounding voice in every way. The her vocal tone in itself is just, like I said, one of the best of all time. And I am such a stickler for that, because that has always been, in my opinion, what it should be about. Like I said, it shouldn't always, a lot of people just listen for high notes and they don't actually listen to the voice itself. And I feel that's, like I said, that just is a generational thing. Singers back then actually had great voices versus now, where singers are just, they're basically, like I said, vocal robots. It's all, mechanics, it's all histrionics. And the voices themselves are lackluster, for a better word usage. Just such a magnificent vocal tone, just such a unique tone, such a once in a lifetime, voice in itself. And just so, I'm so grateful to have grown up listening to her, like I said, because before I learned a lot of what I know now, technically. It was always ingrained in my head that, being a natural singer is what it's all about, and being able to do impressive things while, still maintaining that, natural sense of humanity in your artistry when you're presenting yourself in front of an audience is just, what it's all about in the end. And like I said, it's a lost art form, but I'm so glad that I can, react to these amazing performances by people like Barbra and get back to the basics of things. What an amazing cause this concert was. And one of the other things I've said before that I've always admired about Barbra is, even years after she hasn't sung for a while, she knows her instrument well enough to know how to rearrange certain things within a performance to suit her current, state with her voice, and she is, and that's one thing I've talked about with even other singers. A real professional knows what to do with a song to deliver it, nicely, and they know how to change certain things, making it seamless to suit their current voice and their current state in their voice. And Barbra has always been one of the best people to do that. She always changes certain little things within a performance to really, 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 make the most of where she is now. And like I said, it's always such a beautiful experience regardless. And that really, really, really goes to show you somebody who is a true musician versus somebody who has an ego and continuously, goes on stage to prove themselves rather than to enchant and affect an audience. And like I said, just night and day with Barbra, versus other people. I could go on and on, you guys already know. I also loved what one of the reasons I wanted to watch the whole performance in their entirety, because I love what everybody, you could see the inspiration Barbra has just had on everybody in, life in general, not even just the music industry. She has affected so many people, regardless of race, regardless of, nationality, regardless of, political stance. She has had such an impact on the world in general. And I just love to see the, the wonderful words everybody, had for her throughout this concert. Even the humor that was there, just the whole thing, absolutely such a, magnificent, piece to watch. And I'm, like I said, I only saw snippets of it, believe it or not, prior to watching these full 3 performances with you guys. So I'm just so glad to revisit it in its entirety. And I'm so happy I was able to do so with you guys. Thank you once again for everyone joining me today. This was absolutely an amazing start to the new week, and I cannot wait to bring more from Barbra to this channel moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me today for this reaction video. Once again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. First and foremost, give the video a thumbs up if you like what you saw and you heard, and head on over to the Patreon to join everyone over there for first access on content to come forth, as well as priority reaction video requests. I cannot wait to bring more to this channel, as per popular request by you guys. Leave your requests in my inbox and I'll get to as many as possible, and I look forward to continuing the journey moving forward. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I will check you guys later. Peace.